Welcome to the Marriage Game Plan podcast, where we help couples build healthy relationships through faith, love, and strategy. I'm George.
And I'm Tandra, and we are so glad you're here.
For over 15 years, we've been helping coach couples from NFL locker rooms to everyday living rooms on how to win in marriage, not just survive.
Whether you're newlyweds, seasoned teammates, or somewhere in between, this podcast is your bi-monthly huddle for real talk, practical plays, and fresh game plans to help you win your home game.
And if you're single and hoping to be married one day, this is your podcast for practical insights and tools to help you enter into marriage with clarity, confidence, and purpose.
So grab your spouse or just your headphones,
and let's build a championship level marriage together. Hey, everybody. Welcome back to the Marriage Game Plan podcast.
Welcome back. We missed you.
That's right. We always miss you guys, but we're always praying for you and for the success of your marriage team. We've got a great show today. We've got our friends, Jeff and Michelle Collins. Now, Jeff and Michelle, they are real estate agents in the Houston area, and they have a great real estate team called the Collins Home Team, which I found that to be very interesting,
Yes.
right? We always talk about how to win your home game, and they have the Collins Home Team. They are real estate agents, and they are known for serving families with integrity, with excellence, and with legacy in mind.
Yes. And not only do they have an amazing real estate business, but they are also marriage leaders at Lakewood Church in Houston.
That's right.
And that's where they are helping couples have a strong, grace-filled relationship. Welcome.
Jeff and Michelle, welcome to the Marriage
Yes.
Game Plan podcast.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. It's our honor to be here. I mean, we admire you guys, and we're grateful for what you're doing for couples and families.
Yeah, always. We have like-minded hearts over here, right? We want to build healthy homes. We want to help marriages, and we are on the same team. And so when we look at you guys, and especially with our audience, now our audience is listeners that love marriage, but we also talk about marriage through sports themes. And so when we look at football games, in order for that football game to start, we have to have a kickoff. So as we talk about your kickoff, tell us how your story began. Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Oh, I love this part. I love anybody that asks me this question. I always tell them, I walked into this meeting that she was already an executive at, and I was there interviewing the company to see if I wanted to join. And she comes running up to me and she just undresses me with her eyes. And she goes, if there's anything that you need, I can help you.
Yeah.
That's his version.
That's my story.
Okay. I was like, that sounds like a fantasy, Jeff, more than a reality.
Exactly. He was trying to run the play that wasn't even in the books. Anyway,
It was a fake field goal.
really, but we're a blended family. It's our second and last marriage. And I had said a prayer and just told God that, look, if you want me to meet somebody and you want me to be married again, I'm going to serve you, and I'm going to work at this U.S. bank, and I'm going to work and serve you. If you want that, then you bring somebody to me. And at the moment, I didn't even know what I was really saying, other than I was just making an inner valley hymn that this is just going to be about me and you and these kids, and
Sure.
to work everything out. And he walked into that meeting thinking he was there to get a job, and God was like, this is just divine order and prayer.
Yep.
Amen.
I didn't realize that was in the playbook.
Wow.
Well, so I love that, how you guys said it. Michelle, you said that it was your second marriage, but your last marriage,
Yeah, I
right?
like that.
Talk to us more about that, the determination that this is your last marriage.
This is our last marriage because what I understand now going forward, and I continue to learn and grow, is that this isn't about us just making each other happy. This is a covenant that we chose to make in front of God, with God, and said, look, we messed a lot of things up in the first one. We're going to look, grow, and we're going to keep you at the center. And I'm going to learn how to love and serve him. Even when I do it wrong, I'm going to go back to you and trust you that you gave me this marriage that I prayed for, and we're going to figure this out together. We say that all the time, that this is our last marriage, because we need to let the universe and our words and our energy and the people around us to speak that over us too.
It's another way of us saying that we trust you, God.
And
acknowledge that God put us together, and there's growth in that, growth and blessings in that covenant. And we don't take the approach of, well, if it gets hard, we'll just start again. We know there's growth in it, even through struggle.
That commitment is a amazing guiding principle that you are governing your behaviors and actions and decisions through that principle of, no, this is it. We don't have a plan B. We will figure out how to make this work, but getting out of this is not an option. That's a great guiding principle. What other guiding principle or plays do you implement that are non-negotiable in your marriage?
One of them that comes to mind, and I was talking to, the more seasoned we get in relationships with other couples with children, we're hearing a lot of different blended families. And even if it's their first marriage, we're hearing struggles in the season of parenting as they get older and decisions. And one thing that we didn't realize, we knew we were, it was a non-negotiable, even though Jeff said it very early on, is one of our children, he said Jeff couldn't come to his high school graduation. I mean, he banned him from the whole school. He wasn't welcome. But what you said is, we will let this one go because we're just newly married, but this will go forward. We got to stand and trust the Lord and let him know that we're going to make this all work. And 4 years later, Jeff was straddling all these seats in college for the same young man. And because he was now welcome, because we did some really good things that we didn't know we were doing, but it was all the Holy Spirit and God, helping us with these underlining things. That's one of them.
And at the beginning, in a blended marriage, this has always been my approach, because when I was a young kid, I was introduced, thrown into, didn't have a choice, into blended marriages, and there was zero respect for me. There was abuse for me. There was no consideration to how I felt. So I'm walking into this relationship and this blended family going, I don't want to do that to these children. I want there to be an understanding. I want there to be respect. And I want to acknowledge that I understand that I'm the bad guy in this particular situation, walking into a brand new marriage. And all I could do, what I said, and this has been my theme from that point forward, from the beginning forward, is all I can do. This is me talking to the boys. Do is I can love your mom the very best I can. That's all I can do. I'm not going to try to change anything else in your life.
Sure. Well, that's, the key thing that I'm hearing from you guys is, especially in a blended family sense, it's not just you two becoming one, but it's two different families. The marriage, the kids, maybe, the extended families, having to understand that we've got to not just enter into this trustful relationship again, but we've got to believe the best. And sometimes that's hard, but yet it's doable.
Yeah, I love
Absolutely.
that.
And we always had the focus that, and this sounds a little harsh, we always approached it where we came first.
Well, it's God, then us.
God, then us.
And then
we worked through everything else.
Wow.
Yeah.
And I also say, even if you're not a blended family, if it's your first marriage, for even the two of you, you are blending two worlds. You're blending all of Tandra's upbringings and blessings and things that didn't work, and all of George's upbringings and blessings and things that didn't work that you were going to change. And you're blending those two worlds together.
Yeah.
So we're all a blended family. We happen to bring a little bit more baggage when we're marriage to blended parts. So you said, what are non-negotiables? We've never, ever talked about each other to our children. Bad. We've never, and now it's 10 years.
Or ex-spouses.
Yeah. Our youngest son is married for about 3 years now. He's never talked bad about his wife to me. And I have issues, but it's just that rule that we started, and we said, look, we will not, I have never once. And then another non-negotiable is they can never joke around and make fun of him or me. And what I mean by that, like one time, one son, and he was being funny. He's like, look at Jeff's pants, do this. And I'm like, I stopped him and I said, look, don't ever joke about him. Said, I know. He goes, no, I care about him. And he realized the seriousness. We make fun of each other and we joke around, his dad jokes and all that, but it's never, ever going to be something that's going to ever try to hurt him or even be silly about
There's not an edge to it.
Yeah, there's not an edge.
Sure.
But there's not an edge. There's no ill intent.
Yes.
Yeah. I really like that, because I hear that you all really prioritize honoring and respecting each other, and you instill that value in your kids to honor and respect and value each other. So I think a lot of couples as well as blended families could benefit from that being a non-negotiable is we're not going to talk down. We're not going to be condescending. We're not going to have jokes or hostile humor, right? Because everything is cutting. So talk to us about how do you maintain that atmosphere of mutual honor and respect?
I think the one thing someone taught us early on, and I know the couple, I'm going to give her the credit. It's God and her. They were in our marriage class. They were teachers. And one of the things they taught us early on was never, ever let the day start without covering each other with prayer. And
that's good.
We would be in separate spaces when we first got married. He went off to do his thing. I went to do mine at work. And we would always cover each other with prayer. And at the beginning, it was wonderful. It was all the yumminess. Like, thank you, Lord, for blessing my husband. Thank you for taking care of
She's so sexy.
Yeah. And then it was even times we were at odds with one another. We would still cover each other. And also with that, don't ever complain during that prayer because God's not going to bless that. He's going to look at
God, make my wife do this and stop doing this thing.
Oh my gosh.
Learn that. And then we also did that with the kids. They never leave us without covering them with prayer.
Yes.
So even if they're in a hurry, they're 35 and 32 now.
And the legacy created with our grandson.
Yeah. And they don't leave us because we're now visit them and they visit us. And even if they're in a hurry, even if they're late to a game or whatever it is, they're like, pray for me. I got to go. It's just this embedded thing that has continued to happen. Fast forward, we have our first grandson and he's 3 now. And since he was 1 year old, we've been praying over them. They've been praying over him. Now he's picking who's going to pray over him when we're all together. He's like, I want Chipa to pray over me. And he's 3. So it's that embedded layer of obedience that we did early on.
And it's always speaking life. It's always speaking blessings. It's always speaking uplifting and hope. It's not pointing out the things that are going wrong at the moment. It's not beating them down. It's always like, okay, yeah, that feels good. I agree. Bring it on.
Sure. Yeah, listen, this is a rich discussion. I'm glad our listeners get to hear and see and learn from your life, your rich life. You talked about a few things that we talk about actually in our book, The Marriage Game Plan. By the way, guys, if you haven't picked that book up by now, go out and buy that book at Amazon or one of your local stores that maybe in your city or your town. And in chapter 2, we talk about covenant. We talk about that God has given you a helper. We talk about prayer and things of that nature. And you guys are just really undergirding those same principles. But when it comes down to marriage, we understand we're on the same team, right? We're Team Gregory. You guys are Team Collins. But tell us, how have you learned to honor and support each other through your differences as well as your strengths? Because sometimes our differences are what pulls us apart, and we think our strengths is what build us. But talk to us and tell us, how do you honor each other and support each other, even though you're very different people?
So I heard this from our mentors, our marriage mentors, and this sticks right along with the game plan theme is in marriage, stop being each other's referee and be each other's cheerleader.
Love it. Say that one more time, Jeff. Jeff, say that one more time.
So in marriage, for each other, stop being each other's referee, because the referee looks to throw that flag at everything that you're doing wrong, breaking all the rules. Start being each other's cheerleader. Cheer each other on.
And I tell Jeff, when we do this in our marriage class, we say, that's beautiful what Jeff said, and it's the truth. But when the real heat has been turned up and you're angry and you're mad, how do you do that? How do you go back into that? And we notice that, there's a space when you're arguing, one will back up. Jeff tends to back up a lot, and I tend to move forward. And it really heats him up. I mean, because he wants time to be able to just process, and he wants me to stop coming at him. And then I have to remember, back away and talk from here. If we're having this discussion on the island, or he's just heated about something that I said wrong, or I came at him too strong, then I just have to look at him. And one of us, hopefully in that moment, have to say, look, we're not okay right now, but we're always going to be on one team. What can we do right now to just calm each other down? And usually it's prayer. I mean, there's times Jeff said, can we pray together? And I'm like, no, I need to wash these dishes because I don't want him touching me. And I just want him to touch my hands. I don't want him to. but it's just the fight. It's the pride. It's the ego. It's all of that. And the minute he prays or I pray, I'm start crying. It's just all that junk is gone. And there's a little trick someone taught us. He said, it's a spirit that has came in and is trying to get you to continue to fight in that spirit. He said, open the door and say, you are not welcome here. And it was silly at first. And I did it. Do you remember the first time I did it? You just looked at me. Yeah. Jeff didn't say one word. Jeff didn't say one word because it's weird and it's different. But the minute you start doing that, you start laughing and thinking like, okay, now it's not welcome here.
So not only are we,
it just breaks the tension.
Not only are we inviting God to definitely be a part of that conversation, we're telling the enemy they're not invited and they're not in this house. And it's psychologically, it's changing the environment and changing our responses typically. Yeah. And one of the ways to answer your question for me is I always have to say, what is her intent? What is the intent behind her coming at me like, what's the intent? Why is she mad? Why is she hurt? And that's because she can be very aggressive, but behind it is love and kindness and wanting to just try to get it figured out.
Sure.
I'm aggressive with my food. I'm aggressive with shopping. It's excitement. It's
passion.
It's passion.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what I'm hearing from that? I'm hearing that God's wired both of you differently, your personalities, how you respond, how you react. And yet God doesn't change that because we get married, but we have to learn to work with each other, right? Because we're still individuals, but we're on the same team. So we have to, I love what you said about you got to cheer each other on and not just call the red flags on each other. I mean, I think that's one of the best things that I've learned from you guys at least so far on our call here.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that is going to resonate with a lot of couples because we are different. And a lot of times we want to reject how we're different, right? But we have to learn how to influence each other in the difference and make our marriage stronger because now we've got, a more well-rounded approach to marriage because we're allowing each person to thrive in the way that they make us better as a couple. So I think this is definitely going to resonate with a lot of couples. Couples face a lot of challenges. So it's not just learning how to be one in the marriage, but there are some external things that couples will have to face in their marriage as they move forward. So we call that facing opponents, right? We all have to face our opponents if we're going to win in our marriage. So what are some challenges that have tested your marriage and how have you faced them together and overcome them?
Working 24/7, 365. If you want to advance your relationship in a very quick manner, work 24/7, 365 with your spouse.
I think that we had two separate worlds. We would separate during the day for about a good 8 to 10 hours. And Jeff is words of affirmation, and so am I. And we're also physical touch would be number 2. So we like to rub the shoulders and say, you're wonderful, you're handsome, you're great. And then all of a sudden we would come back. I would send him texts during the week and say, you're wonderful, whatever meeting you're in, they're lucky to be with you. When we started to work with me and together, I wasn't sending them text message. I'm like, why are you doing that?
What's taking you long?
I remember I was like, so it did not happen. So that was the wrong way to do it. But what I learned, Tandra, is we talk a lot, us women. I do. I talk a lot with Jeff. You don't intentionally ask good enough questions.
Oh, that's great.
When you ask good enough questions, you get better answers and you get more depth in your relationship. And I would point out stuff that he was doing wrong, or why wasn't he doing it this way? I was talking a lot and I wasn't digging enough and like what bothers you about that you haven't proceeded forward. And then I found out, he said, because it's 200 pages, you're going to put George and Tandra in a position where they have to sign all these rights away just to buy this house. And I'm not comfortable with it. So then I knew he was analytical and a learner, and I learned more about his Clifton Straight Finders. I learned how he processed. So I won't give him anymore a 200-page document because he was going to sit on it, not because he didn't want to do it. It's because he didn't know how to proceed forward without protecting you.
Right.
And or frame the task in a way that my analytical self understands the importance and the choice that we have. The choice was they really have no choice but to sign the document if they want to move forward. And clarifying the vision. Clarifying the vision was a huge part of that.
Wow.
Have you guys heard of the Clifton Strength Finders?
Sure. Yes.
So my top, the thing is that you get 10 top gifts that you have that God gave you. You really, really live in your top 5.
Mhm.
Well, what happens is in most marriages, Jeff's top 5 were my bottom 5 of the
Mhm.
gifts. And what I started to realize is instead of saying we're different, I said, if you bring your 5 and my 5, instead of us focusing on 5 gifts, I have 10. If I learn
Mhm.
to master yours, then I have all 10, and those 5 are no longer things that I'm never going to master those bottom 5, but I utilize my bottom 5 because God gave me somebody with those gifts.
Mhm.
And
That
it's
is
learning how
good.
to use it right together to be able to understand and be able to move forward. It's the same with money. We're totally different with money. And when he answers a question and he answers it with a little bit of deepness and anger, instead of me getting offended, I'm like, oh, wait, he looks at that money problem differently. He's coming at it with protecting eyes. I'm coming out about, let me bless you and give it away. So then we discuss it and understand, because now that we've taken these tests and really dive deep, I understand him better. And he used to shake his head when we would get in an argument. And here's a perfect example.
Yeah.
We would have heated fellowship and he would be shaking his head. And I'm like, I'm telling you the truth. And I would get super heated. And then we sat down and I said, tell me what happens in the moment and what causes the nod of the head.
The shaking of the head, like I'm saying no.
And he never told me this. We were 10 years into our marriage. And he said, I'm not saying no to you. I'm saying no to the enemy, because he's saying, this is a time it's over now. Oh, now she's going, this is it. This is over. And I'm like, you couldn't share that with me? I'm like, that. But it's just men took some stuff away and they don't want to be vulnerable, not because they don't want to be. It's because they don't know how to be sometimes.
Yeah. I love that. Like maintaining that air of your goal is to understand each other more and more, and to ask questions, and not just react to how they're reacting, but to seek that curious understanding of, what are you feeling? What are you thinking? What are you experiencing through this? Is a very powerful way to face your opponents, because that will make you teammates, right, against the common enemy, versus letting whatever external opponent come in and cause you now to become enemies and not on the same team.
I love this theme that you guys have. It's not just you and your marriage, but you also know God's in your marriage, but you also know there's an opponent who is trying its best to make you argue, or to get you to not feel like you're on the same team, or to just go at each other, right? That's the easiest thing that we can do, is just join the fight where the enemy's already battling us. We join and we just sort of compound that with each other. I think our listeners today are gaining so much information that's helpful for them to not just know that they're not in their marriage alone, but they have God. And if you're out there listening today and you never invited God into your marriage, maybe this is a great time for you to just stop and pause and just say, God, come into my life and help me in my marriage and help me to communicate better, and then kick the enemy out. One is inviting God in, but the other one is to kick the enemy out and to say, you will not destroy what God has put together. And so we understand this, is that not only do teams win on the fields or in their arenas, but sometimes teams go through losses. Now, you guys look great together. You have a successful real estate business, but I know there's been a few tough losses. Can you just share a season that you felt like you had a loss, and how did you recover and grow from that loss that you felt?
There's been several. I mean, I'll talk about the loss that we had is when we merged our two worlds together. This was a marriage loss. You know, Jeff was very well respected and very well loved and very well perceived in his old role in corporate America. When he came into my world, it was totally different. We're entrepreneurs. We work in a small space, and there was a lot of pain growing and understanding each other. We spent our first year working together with our coach. It's a business coach. We paid him a lot of money every month, and all we did was argue with him and argue work. And so finally we sat down and came up with a game plan to make these roles work. That was one loss, because he built this business on his own, and now he stepped into this. And if we would have gave up, we wouldn't have been able to have what we have today.
100%.
Jeff would never take that role back, his old role. He loves where he's at, and we talk about that. But then there's bigger losses. You know, when one of our parents was so close to his mother, she was the most important woman in his life. And when he lost her,
Well, next to you.
well, before me,
Sure.
she was the first woman that God let you love, and you had a tight relationship with her. And not only did he lose his mother and his brother all within 18 months, that was his whole family. That was
that's my whole
everything.
family. That's the three of us.
Wow.
Yeah.
Oh, how did that? I mean, because
You know, that just rolls right back to what we've got. That just rolls right back to what we've got between us. Shell shifted very, very eloquently and very gracefully from her passionate, fiery self to my safe place. And so that was a real safe place for me to be. And the other piece that when we talk about one of the quote unquote losses, a temporary loss, a temporary back, was in our relationship when we first started working together. I was used to having this cheerleader going crazy for me on the sidelines as I'm winning and I'm scoring touchdowns. I'm using sports analogies to turning into the head coach screaming and yelling at me, you know, breaking me down.
I was
Breaking me down. I didn't want to be broken down, but the goal was to make me a better player. And I thought I lost my best friend. And I said that straight to her face. And that was a real tough place for me. I mean, I broke down crying, and I'm not a crier. I broke down and said, hey, I'm losing my best friend here. This is not working.
Yeah.
And what happens in the relationship, because I'm so high strung and so positive, I gave him a whole 10 seconds of empathy. And then I jump into like, are you kidding? I'm right here. Do you not see me? And then we just immediately go back into our negative programming. We had to stop and say, okay, what's happening? Here's the big piece where I was going though, was that we were leading and coaching and leading people, and we were fighting behind closed doors. We were probably 5 years into the marriage ministry at this point, and I loved it. We both loved it. And now he came into my world of work, and we didn't want to go to our leaders and tell them we were fighting behind closed doors because I didn't want them to take away what we loved doing. And then finally, as we started to pray together, we went to them. They're like, oh, we know you're fighting behind closed doors. We're waiting for this. And when everything broke and then everything starts to shake and everything starts to fall apart, but then that's when the real blessing comes, because you can see miracles behind that. It's exposing what you're doing. And that's the one thing I think in our marriage classes that we get a lot of is there's so much transparency. It's great to look good, smell good, and act good. But when you get into the real meat of we're still struggling with this, 15 years into this marriage group, we're still transparent. They're like, you give me permission to also be real and be able to heal from that place.
Yeah. Yeah. That's so great. And what I'm hearing a lot of is you didn't do this by yourself. Like you had a community, you had a support system, and they were waiting there to support you and guide you through your relationship, because marriage is not like it's a one and done. It's a evolving type of thing as life's ups and downs happen, and we need people. So how has it impacted you to have such a supported community, and how has it really made your marriage what it is today?
Wow, that is such a big, beautiful part of a successful life and family, because we have now been going to the same church for the last 15 years, and it's non-negotiable. I mean, we don't discuss it. It's like brushing our teeth. We know every Sunday morning.
Even if we're at a birthday party till 12 o'clock at night, we're like, we're getting up, going to church tomorrow.
Yeah. And one of the group from our marriage leaders had a birthday party, and most of them were all in leadership, and we're like getting up and going to church in the morning. It's not that we discussed it. It became something that just became a part of our existence. And I think what happens, there's a thing that we've learned early on, and enjoyment and satisfaction and merging it with other people become a solid piece of exceeding happiness and joy. And we just taught on this everlasting joy. So what happens is it's contagious, right? So as we go all the time and see the same people, that same joy and love and prayer is that contagious thing that feeds through all our community.
I agree 100%. I have a tendency to look at things from 30,000 foot view. And in the simplest ways that I can explain the answer to the question is, if we hadn't been blessed, if we hadn't made the decision to surround ourselves with the mentors, with the people smarter than us, people that have been in marriages much longer than us, that we would probably be 5 to 10 years behind in our growth, in our in our work, in where we choose to be, in the things that we choose to pursue. And the reason why I say that is because we have mentored, we have observed, we have coached other couples that have chosen not to follow that same guideline, that same playbook, and they keep going through the same struggles. They keep falling back to the same old arguments. They keep falling back to the same mistakes in their marriages, hurting each other one way or another, and not positioning themselves to grow and to evolve. And because it's not unknown in Christian society that God will give you what you are able to handle. When you evolve, when you grow through that, he gives you more.
Yeah.
That's right.
Then you work through those challenges. And he gives you more.
Yeah. That's so good.
On every class, Jeff and I, we're like, because we sit, we only teach once a month, and we sit the other 3 weeks and we're the student. 15 years later, I'm texting Thad and Jeanette. I'm like, can I have every slide? Can I have every note? Because we dissect it for us. And I'm like, we'll come back home. We're like, what really grabbed you today?
Ask great questions about that.
What really, because this is what moved me. We're constantly we're being coached and trained underneath that. We're never going to be the expert.
Absolutely. I love that. And for our listeners out there, if you are going through a tough time, ask for help. You do not have to do marriage in isolation. That's not the best way to do marriage. We never outgrow learning how to do marriage. It's an ongoing process. So I know marriage is intimate and it's private, but you have to open your marriage up if you want to grow as a couple. So that's my encouragement to you. One other thing is how do you as a couple communicate alignment when you're making decisions or having conflict? How do you communicate alignment to each other?
Well, I want to talk about the first time we were married.
So first of all, she always talks first. So I'm a great listener.
I love how you brought the alignment of money. When we were first married, he made this spreadsheet. Now, I didn't know how he operated the money at this point, but he made a spreadsheet and brought it to me. And he said, this is our household expenses. This is what we're titling. This is what we've been spending on. In this bottom category, I don't have anything to do with it. And this is how much went out of it. Basically, he told me I was spending too much money. I was like, how long did this take you to make?
In 2 hours.
I'm like, you couldn't just come and tell me, because I operate at such a fast speed. But I think that as we look at things and understand, he operates that way before he ever comes and tells me something. He has to know everything about it. I just shoot, then I go back and say, oh, I should have aimed. But he's different. He sets it up. He makes the play, does this and why. So I think that we just learned, I kind of lost my train of thought on that, about how we operate on that.
We really acknowledge each other's strengths.
Yes.
And I really think that that's where you were going with that.
Oh, yes, that's where it was.
And when you acknowledge each other's strengths, it's a great way to approach each other in decision-making, in dealing with issues or challenges, or coming up with new ideas that the other person may have resistance to. When there's a question about spending a lot of money on something, she comes to me low voice, acknowledging that I'm probably initially gonna not be real comfortable with the decision, lays out all the reasons why making that financial decisions in the long run will save us more money.
Yeah, just
that is
very
a win.
slow. Yeah.
That is a huge win.
Love it.
And because we're playing in each other's strengths. That's to answer that question. Is coming into alignment instead of, here's the person I am, I'm aggressive, I'm passionate, I'm just gonna over this, whatever this is. Acknowledge the strengths that we operate in and approach it with grace and love much as we possibly can.
Jeff's numbers and money and finances, and paid our bills. And in my previous relationship, I was the one that paid the bills. And so now I tell Jeff, we were sitting talking and laughing one day, and I was giving him a compliment. I said, I love that you love to pay bills. He said, I don't love to pay bills. He said, I do it because I don't like a late fee. And I never thought of that. And I have this joke with my friends that I've never paid a bill late because I've never paid a bill. Because Jeff's also never washed dishes. In years, Jeff doesn't wash dishes.
Maybe once.
Maybe once. Maybe once. So those are things he doesn't enjoy that. So then I wash them or I put them in the dishwasher. So we've learned what we like and don't like. But Jeff will do toilets and he'll vacuum. So then I'm like,
and windows.
So those are things you understand and you become a balance to it and say, okay, that this will work.
Sure, man.
That's awesome.
You guys are hilarious, by the way. Just looking at your makeup and how you respond to each other, and I love how you banter to across each other and things of that nature. Hey, listen, you guys have the Collins Home Team, right? And you're all about helping not just for families to buy a home to live in forever, but to create legacies when it comes down to the next 30 or 40 years, and Jeff and Michelle and Jeff are no longer here. What legacy do you hope to leave for your family, your kids, maybe your church, maybe people who know you in business? What legacy do you want people to learn from your union together?
I think the number one thing is that God is the most important thing in our life, and there's nothing you can't do or accomplish with him in your life by making him number one. And I think the legacy I want to leave is that there's always hope. There's always hope for your marriage. There's always hope for you to get healthier. There's always hope for a second chance. There's always hope for you to be able to be happier and more joyful and to be able to love everyone around you. There's always hope. And more than anything else, I want my children and my grandchildren and everyone to say is that she loved Jesus and she's seen Jesus through her.
Oh, amen.
And that everything that we did as individuals, as a couple, was through the eyes of Jesus. And his love and his tenderness and his quiet strength. If I had anybody remember a legacy about me, it would be quiet strength as through the eyes of Jesus. In everything I do, everything I teach, everything I talk about for our sons, for our grandchildren, that Papa and G-Pa and Grandpa just emulated what they would expect or think that how Jesus would come and wrap their arms around.
Amazing. I love that. So sweet.
Yeah, I think legacy is one of the things in life that people don't build towards, in a sense. We want to, leave our Ks, or we want to leave certain things for our families, but that word legacy means a lot more than just financial things. It's the eternal things. It's the things that we want our kids to emulate. Our marriage, we want them to emulate how we love one another, how we forgave one another, and how we had intense fellowship, but yet we still learn to be on the same team. Jeff and Michelle, you guys have been spectacular today. Thank you guys for coming on our show. You guys get the award for doing it big and being on the same team.
Yes, thank you. And we have enjoyed you sharing your story. Thank you for being so transparent and vulnerable. And I know that our listeners got so many good nuggets, and you're touching lives and couples by sharing your story. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you guys for what you're doing. Thank you for your book. Thank you for loving people. Thank you for showing up. And thank you for being God's hands and feet to so many, including us.
Oh, thank you.
Well, we try to do our part, but listen, we want our listeners to know where to find you guys, right? Maybe they're in the Houston area. Maybe they're looking for a house or a home, or maybe they want to just find out about the Lakewood Marriage Ministry that you guys have going on every Sunday after church, whether it's online or in person. Tell us how we can find you guys.
Info at collinskw.com or Jeff at collinskw.com
or Michelle
at collinskw.com.
Got it.
And the one thing is that if you don't live in the Houston area and you want to be part of our marriage, group, we have, if you text 77377, the word marriage to 77377, you will get a link. Twice a month, we teach on Zoom at 6 p.m. Central Time. And that's just a way to connect. And we have about 100 couples from all around the world that come on to that Zoom link twice a month.
Okay.
That's so awesome. Tandra and I, we've had the privilege to be on that call with all your many listeners from around the country and people who would tune into your Zoom meetings. It's such life-giving, it's such educational, and it leaves you walking away with practical tools. And I think that's what couples need during this time. Jeff and Michelle, thank you so much for being on the Marriage Game Plan podcast. And for all of our listeners, we want to let you know that we are praying for you in this season like never before. Hey, go out, make it a great week. God bless you. Hey, thank you for tuning into the Marriage Game Plan podcast, where we believe every couple can win with the right strategy.
If today's episode encouraged you, please follow or subscribe and share it with a friend, as it helps more couples find our podcast.
And if you haven't grabbed a copy of our brand new book called The Marriage Game Plan, it's about developing a winning strategy for marital success. Hey, go out and grab a copy at your online favorite bookstore today.
It is full of real talk, practical plays, and powerful tools to strengthen your marriage, which will help you win your home game.
As you go, stay tuned for our new coaching groups starting this fall.
And if this podcast is blessing your life, consider supporting the mission at journeyforlifenow.org.
Remember, we're building championship marriages,
one play at a time.
See you in the next episode.
See ya.